Okay, so the other day I got asked about what might be the best kind of first modeler to start with, and in that video I kind of concluded that if tone effects and all of these sorts of things are your number one priority, that I feel like the Fractal FM3 is probably my number one choice for that sort of stuff. And in this video I wanted to talk about some parts of the Fractal FM3 that I really like. Leon Todd has recently just done a video about the FM3 as like a plug and play, grab and go sort of unit. In this video I wanted to give my own perspective on some bits and pieces that I like about it. In that intro there, I was just plugged into a factory preset, and so I guess my first point really is that it takes pedals well, so don't be afraid to try pedals into the FM3. And my second point would be that things don't have to be complicated. So for example, here is a preset that I put together very quickly just to have a play the other day. This is sort of like a couple of minutes type preset. So I pulled up the amp ODS 100 HRM, so that's based on Cliff's actual Dumble. And then I pulled up the cab Legacy 103, which I think this is a really important kind of point that Leon has also made. Leon is of course the preeminent expert on Fractal stuff, and an all-round great guy. But in any case, so he talks about, and I think for him, he's got his own cab that he uses on a lot of stuff, but I think it's a good idea to find a cab within the Fractal space that you can rely on and use this more often than not, and have this as like your kind of base starting point. So also Ben Flanders, who plays with Ella Langley, Nashville recording guitarist, this is one of his favourite cabs too. The high cut here I've got down to 4006, so that's kind of just a little trick to smooth things off in the top end, using a fair amount of gain here, as you see, gain, overdrive, okay, and so on. Then we got just a digital stereo delay, all super straightforward stuff, and a large plate reverb. All I've done with that is just chuck the pre-delay up a bit, and you get just like a it was scene 2 was like mid gain, obviously it's quite a lot of gain still, and then scene 1 was all the gain. So for this I put a Dynacomp up front, also boosting in. So things don't have to be complicated to sound good, I guess is one of my points. And just export this preset. And the other thing I would say, as I was using in the intro there, you don't necessarily have to stray away from the built-in preset. So I was using Prince Tone. So the first bunch of presets are really just based on certain amps and stuff. So what I think is a really good bet, I've used this to record demos with, this one. But there'll be loads of presets here that are pretty sort of not pretty sparse. They're not using a ton of effect. So they might be good bets for either sticking pedals in front of, or, you know, exploring and finding the ones that really suit you very well, whether you're a bit of a heavier player, 5153. things that are basically recording ready and actually sound good. Super reverb. Let's have a listen. So yeah, don't just assume that the built-in presets are going to be like on many modelers where you don't necessarily have tons of like useful stuff here. The next thing I would say is don't be afraid to stick the FM3 in front of your tube amp or in the loop, because it does do some really cool things. So I'm just going to quickly, I think, throw together a preset here just to maybe make the point. So let's go over here. And what we're going to do, something simple. And I'm going to go in front of my deluxe reverb. But this is one of those sort of areas of the FM3 that I don't see many people talking about it being used in this way. But it's sort of like an effects device. So let's go with a nice tape. And then we'll go into a nice sort of long reverb. So we'll use the Nimbus Stratus, because this is a beautiful thing. And then we'll also use a drive. So a couple of drives that I really like in here. The Timmy is great. So we'll just kind of go with this. Actually, what I'll also do is drive 2, Blues OD, because this is in general a great thing. So scene in front of amp, no drive, blues breaker, then Timmy. Should we leave a delay on for all of it? Yeah. Okay, and then stacked. So let's just try this and see how this sounds in front of the amp. So I think that's kind of, just shown to me, you know, it's a tweak if you want to, but not if you don't want to. You don't need to tweak things loads to make them sound, I think, good. And in this case, even here, with the deluxe reverb, like plugging that in, like that sounds as good as any reverb that I've ever plugged into there. Better than, that's my favourite reverb in the world, the Nimbus Stratus. Boost breakers sound good into there. Stacking those 2 drives there in front of the deluxe reverb, to me, sounds really good as well. So I think don't sleep on the FM3 for a bunch of things. Like, it will sound good, the factory presets sound good. You know, if you don't want to ever get in there and tweak anything, I think you could find amongst the factory presets some really good sounds that are basically ready to be put on to recordings. The other kind of things that I think are kind of slept on, you can build presets quite quickly and not have to do loads of different bits and pieces. If you find like one cab that works for you quite well, you can really build presets quite quickly and get the sounds that you're after. I think just knowing a few little bits and pieces, like the high cut in particular, is quite a good little parameter within the cab block, which can really help, you know, smooth things out if you're looking for smoother tones. Other than that, you know, you don't really have to do too much tweaking at all. It won't put your shirt on the right way round if you're wearing it the wrong way round when you're recording, but other than that, it will do a fantastic job of so many things. I took it to Real World Studios and used it in the loop of a tube amp as well, to do like delays and reverbs for that. Did fantastic job of that too. I just think it's a very, very capable, very pro device with so many amps and stuff in there as well. But you already knew that because you're on the G66 channel. So, but I wanted to kind of give it a bit of a shout out because obviously FM9, FX3, we give loads of love as well. But the FM3 I kind of like for being affordable, but so like powerful too. G66 UK bring you this video, and that's your place to get an FM3, FM9, FX3 or VP4 in the UK with no wait lists, and also a UK service centre who, Fractronics they're called, repaired this one because I dropped it out of the car and knocked off my knobs, but I can report back that they did a fantastic, efficient job. So yeah, I sent it over to them on the Wednesday and I had it back on the Monday, so very quick.